all started because the Israelis, or Jews, believed Israel was their promised land. They believed God promised the land to Abraham for them. The Palestinians have always lived in this land and believe that it is rightfully theirs. The Israelis went in to try to claim the land which they believe is theirs. When they came in, the Palestinians didn't know what to do, so they started suicide bombing. At least 6,537 Palestinians and 1,092 Israelis have been killed from suicide bombing since September 29, 2000. The Israelis created the Palestinian Wall to keep out the suicide bombers. The wall was a problem for the Palestinians because they could not cross it. They could not go across for work or education, and they have to stop at checkpoints to get from place to place. The UN have attempted several resolutions, including trying to get the Israelis to take down the walls. Also, to return all captured land in return for peace. The US has been the largest supporter economically and militarily, sending well over $140 billion. In May of 1964, the Palestinian Liberation Organization founded with hope of destroying Israel. On March 26, 1979, Egypt and Israel signed a peace treaty. On June 7, 1981, Israel destroys Iraqi Osirak. On June 6, 1982, there was a massive Israeli invasion. On September 13, 1993, Israel and the PLO agreed to mutual recognition. On September 28, 1995, the Oslo Declaration of Principles was signed. On January 18, 1997, Israelis and Palestinians agree on Israel's taking the West Bank. In March of 2000, the Israel-Syrian peace negotiations end. In March 2002, Israel creates a barrier in the West Bank. In June 2005, violence starts in the Gaza. The genocide in Darfur started over a conflict about land and water. Arabic tribes and African farmers both needed the resources. While these conflicts were happening, General Omar Bashir took over Sudan. While the Sudan Liberation Army and the Justice and Equality Movement attempted to take down the Sudanese government, the government sent out Arab militias known as the Janjaweed, who attacked the African farmers, destroying over 400 villages, killing at least 400,000 and forcing 2,500,000 out of their homes. The millions that were forced out of their homes were living in refugee camps in Chad and the Central African Republic. They had to live in tents with disease and starvation. They couldn't leave the camps to get food or water because there was the chance of being murdered, abducted, or raped. The UN was allowed to help once the government would admit this is a genocide. The US helped to end it by sending money and food to the refugee camps. In Darfur now, not much has gotten better. Most of the killing has stopped, but the Africans still can't leave the refugee camps and cannot be given help. They're still living in horrible conditions with disease and starvation. In March of 2003, fighting starts in Darfur and forces refugees to escape to Chad. In December of 2003, a new round of attacks by the Janjaweeds, including burning of villages and murder. In February 2004, UN groups try to help refugees in Chad. In May of 2006, Sudan government doesn't allow the UN resolution of peacekeeping. In May of 2007, a minister and a Janjaweed leader are arrested for suspected war crimes. On the 28th of May in 2007, there was an armed hijack of 3 UN vehicles. On the 22nd of April in 2008, the UN announces a death toll of 300,000 after 5 years. In May 2008, fighting breaks out over oil sources. In July of 2008, North and South Sudan create a resolution for the borders. In February of 2009, after 3 weeks of fighting, Sudan's army invade a southern town in Darfur.
The Belgians favored the Tutsis over the Hutus and left the Hutus to be in charge of Rwanda. The Belgians organized a mandate that everyone be issued an identity card, classifying them as either a Tutsi or Hutu. This caused the Hutus to rebel against the Tutsis and Belgians. The death of Rwanda's president was what really sparked the genocide, and this caused Hutu extremists to begin killing the Tutsis. Hutus and Tutsis are actually very similar. They speak the same language, they look very similar, and both follow the same traditions, but the Hutus were a different ethnic class than the Tutsis, who were ruled by a monarch. Hutus perpetrated the violence between the two groups. They would use machetes, clubs, knives, and guns while killing. Tutsis and Hutus were both killed, but the majority of people that were killed was the Tutsis. The genocide lasted between April and June 1994, and around 1 million people were killed in the space of 100 days. In 1933, the Belgians organized a mandate that everyone be issued an identity card, classifying them as either a Tutsi or Hutu. 1959, Hutus rebel against the Tutsis and Belgians. July 1st, 1962, Rwanda gains its independence. 1988, the Rwanda Patriotic Front is created in Uganda. 1990, the Rwandan Patriotic Front invaded Rwanda, starting a civil war. 1994, Rwanda's president is killed when his plane is shot out of the sky. April 15, 1994, massacre at the Nairobi Roman Catholic Church where thousands of Tutsis are killed. May 23, 1994, the RPF takes control of the presidential palace. July 5, 1994, the French established a safe zone in the southwest corner of Rwanda. Mid-July 1994, the Rwanda genocide ends when the RPF gains control of the country.